everyone, this is The Art of Teaching Art, and today I'm teaching you how to draw a fish. So I've got a few different examples here, all pencil drawings, and I've chosen a range of different fish and sea creatures. So what we're aiming for here is a realistic drawing. We want to try and get all the detail of the fish and a range of tones in our work. So we're thinking first about sketching out the basic shapes, adding in the details, and then adding in the dark and light tones. And for an extra level of skill, you're thinking about using blending in your work. These were done completely in just a HB pencil, so no darker pencils used. I've drawn out the basic shape and added a range of tones here. So you've got the darker tone on the eye, and then some blending across the body and some more detail on the fins. And here, even more detail. This was a fish that had a lot less tone on it, so I focused more on the detail of the fins. These two drawings are where we add additional pencils, so I've used both a 2B and a 4B pencil on these. With this one you can see very clear blending from dark to light and nice smooth shading across. With the turtle, slightly different, a lot more detail added, but less blending. So the first step is to select a picture. So I've got a whole range of pictures here and here, so I'm going to select one of these to draw from. I'm just going to go with this simple fish to start off with, and I'm just going to start off drawing with a HB pencil and with this fish. Now there's two different approaches that you might go for. The first is to try and sketch out the whole of the body in basic shapes, so you've got a curved line and a curved line, adding on the tail and then the features. The second approach is to choose a detail, such as the eye, and then work out from the eye to develop the rest of the picture. So it's up to you which approach you choose. The approach that I prefer is to start with the eye and work outwards. I will show you both approaches. So I'm going to sketch lightly with my pencil. So I'm first drawing a circular shape. And then I'm thinking about the detail around the eye, so I can see a little bit of detail here, and then a lighter shape here. So I'm just copying exactly what I'm seeing. I'm looking carefully at the shapes to draw them into my design. And then we've got this lighter area coming around the outside of the eye here, so I will add that in as well. That comes thinner to that side. So I've got my eye. Then I'm going to start to add in the rest of the detail. Now, the reason I start with the eye is because that gives you something to measure the rest of the fish by. So, for example, the fish eye is that size, and that measurement is also the same to the end of the nose. So I know on my drawing, in terms of proportion, if I measure the eye, the nose will be that far away as well. So I can just put a little marker there. The top of the fish's head here, the line comes probably about half an eye, so half an eye is about there, so I know that this will come across here. I'm going to start now with the body shape, so I know that this is a curved line. Just sketching that out with my pencil, not being too accurate first of all. Then I'm thinking about the distance of the eye to this bit here, so if I measure the total of the eye, that's the same, so my total of my eye to here. So I know that nose has got to go down here and come up here. I've then got a kind of diagonal line that swoops back here, which I will then draw in. I will just check again, proportionally, that it stays the same amount away, which that one is. And then I've got this bottom lip of the fish. Now that comes out further than this lip, and it's just a little bit down from it. So I'm going to swoop that round to create the fish's mouth. Now that's not looking quite pointy enough, so I'm just going to scoop a bit of that out to just make it look a little bit more pointy, and then I'll just rub out any extra lines that I've got. So you can see that what I'm always doing is making changes to the drawing and then rubbing the wrong line out. I'm not rubbing it out and then redrawing it. I'm going to then start to draw some of this detail of the face, this line that comes in here. So it comes up from the mouth and swoops round. That line then follows across the body. So I'm going to just sketch that in. So we're then thinking about where this fin comes and where this fin comes. So if I go by my eye measurement again, so the eye is 1, 2, Okay, I've got my eye, 1, 2. So I know my fin starts here, so I can draw that line in. That will then allow me to draw the next fin in. And then coming down, we'll be able to see where this one comes. So I would imagine it's about there. It's in line with the eye. And it's got this circle shape down below it, which then swoops out and up. Now I will add more detail to this later on, but I'm just getting in the initial shapes first of all. So I'm thinking about the length of this. It covers nearly the whole of those two, so I'm just making sure that it's long enough there. And then I can draw in the belly, so swooping line downwards. Just going to rub out that little bit here from my earlier line. Then we've really got the fish taking shape. Might want to point the front of the mouth a little bit more just to really refine it. Can also start to add in extra details like this block here. And where the other bits of shading will be. And then also got the fin at the bottom, so that matches up with this fin at the top. And the same, this one here. And the one at the back. So I've got my basic outline now completed and I'm ready to go on to the shading. I'm just going to quickly show you how you would do it if you just wanted to go by basic shapes. Okay, so basic shapes, you're thinking of drawing, first of all, the main body of the fish. And what you might want to do is start with a single line so you can get the whole body in and that is centred around. You're imagining drawing a line along the centre of the body here. So I've got my line there. I then can start this shape, so it's literally a slightly curved shape that goes thinner at either ends. So I can start to draw in that shape first of all. Thinner at the end and then out again for the tail. And then we're looking at this shape thinking of where things come. So drawing in the lip at the point and then coming up and drawing the top lip, and then you can place your eye somewhere along that line, adding in the extra details, and then your fin and the bottom fin. And then the finish just off centre. There's that way of doing things as well. If definitely if you're trying to fit something on the whole of a page, this approach might be easier. But I just prefer the other approach. So back to my picture here. So we're ready to start shading. So we're looking at the dark and light areas. And I'm going to start off just with the HB pencil. And then I will add in some of the darker pencils just because I want you to be able to see what you can do just with a HB pencil. So remember when we're doing this, we're thinking about our shading scales, thinking about shading in one direction. You can do larger areas, you can shade with the side of the pencil. If you're doing more detailed areas, you can shade with the tip of the pencil. This will also allow you to get darker tones. So the darkest tone you can probably get with a HB pencil is probably about this. But with practice, you will be able to get your lighter tones as well, and you should be able to get a whole range in between as well. When we're thinking about blending, we're thinking about starting off darker and then fading lighter. So I'm putting less pressure on the pencil, moving across the page, just a little bit lighter. So now we're ready to shade our fish. As I did with the start of the drawing, I'm going to start with the eye and the face and then work across. Now, if I was left-handed, I would probably start on this side of the page and work across, so not to smudge the pencil work. Also, you might consider, if you're left-handed, choosing a picture which is facing the other way. Sometimes that might be easier for people. That's why there's multiple pictures. You can, of course, look online and there's many, many fish pictures on there. So I'm looking at the tone of the eye first of all, and I can see that it's mostly dark. So I'm just going to use my pencil nice and evenly across the eye. Now I'll start to add in some of the outer detail. So I'm looking at this highlight here, and this highlight here, and this highlight here. So we've got the start of the eye, and then I will move across the face. Now this looks quite dark, this face, but I can see the darkest area is this area that comes across here. And then you've got a slightly darker shadow around the mouth area. So I will just first of all draw in where those darker areas are as I can see them. And then I'll start to add the tone. Now with this I'm going to use larger sweeping motions to keep it nice and even. If you noticed when I was doing it around the eye, I was keeping it in the round to help get the roundness of the eye. So just pressing lightly with my pencil first of all to build up that initial layer. We're trying to keep the tone nice and even all the time. So I'm going to then start to build in the darker tones. So starting with the nose, neatening up that edge there so it's nice and sharp. You may need to sharpen your pencil by this point to do that. I'm just going to rotate this so I can add the darker part. And now I've got some basic shading in, I can start to add a little bit more detail and things like that. So thinking about any details like this little dot here, and these little lines here, and also this white line that comes here, I will start to add those things in. What I'm going to do is continue the drawing and speed it up so you can see me completing the whole thing. So I've kind of come to the end of the drawing with the HB pencil. So I'm generally happy with it. I feel like I could do with smoothing out some of the shaded areas a little bit more. So to do this, I can just literally go over the top of them again, just with the side of the HB pencil, and that will help blend those together a little bit better. I'm creating these blended areas to the edge to help the fish look more 3D. And then what I'm going to do is go in with the 4B pencil to add some additional detail. A 4B pencil is a lot darker, it contains more graphite therefore, which makes it darker on the page. So I'm just going to add some fine details with this just to refine some of the areas. So the last thing left to do is to clean up the paper a little bit. I'm just going to go ahead and rub out those smudge marks. There is my finished fish drawing. There are lots of other things I could try. Have a go drawing some different sea creatures. With anything with an eye, you can start with the eye and work outwards and then work on developing your shading. Whether you've just got a HB pencil or whether you've got some shading pencils as well, you can try to add your range of tones and come up with a really lovely, accurate and realistic drawing. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a really great day.